Chapter 2. Alice and the White Rabbit. Ponder over. Curious, tunnel, scurried, veiled, dripping, dotted, thimble, stamped away. One day, Alice was sitting beside the river with her sister when something curious happened. A white rabbit with pink eyes ran past. Oh dear, I shall be too late," he said. Then he took a watch out of his vest pocket and hurried on. Alice quickly leaped on her feet and followed the rabbit down a large rabbit hole. The rabbit hole went straight on like a tunnel for some way, and then dipped so suddenly that Alice did not have time to stop herself. She found herself falling down. "I must be getting near the center of the earth," Alice thought to herself. Down, 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 Alice kept falling. Suddenly, she landed in a heap at the bottom. When she got up, she found herself in a long hall, lined with doors. At the end was a little three-legged glass table. There was nothing on it but a tiny golden key. Alice tried the key in the doors, but it would not open any of them. Then she noticed a low curtain she had not seen before. Behind it was a tiny door. She turned the key in the lock and it opened. The door led into a beautiful garden. But Alice could not even get her head through the doorway. She went back to the table and saw a little bottle labeled, "Drink me." Once she was sure it was not poison, Alice drank it and shrank. But when she went back to the door, she remembered that she had left the key on the table. Alice did not know what to do. Then she saw a cake marked, "Eat me." Alice ate it and began to grow. Soon she was so large that her head touched the ceiling. Alice began to cry and was soon surrounded by a large pool of tears. She was wondering what to do when who should come along with the white rabbit. He was carrying a pair of white gloves and a large fan. "If you please, sir," began Alice. The rabbit dropped the gloves and the fan and scurried away. "How strange everything is today," said Alice, picking up the gloves and the fan. "I am not myself at all." Then she began fanning herself as she wondered who she might be instead. After a while, Alice looked down at her hands. She was surprised to see that she had put on one of the rabbit's little white gloves. "I must be growing smaller again," she thought. Alice realized that it was the fan that was making her shrink. So she dropped it quickly and ran to the door. Suddenly, she remembered that the key was still on the table. "Drat," she said, "things cannot possibly get any worse." But she was wrong. Splash! She fell into her sea of tears. "I wish I had not cried so much," wailed Alice. Just then, she heard something splashing. It was a mouse. "Mouse, do you know the way out of this pool?" asked Alice. The mouse did not reply. "Perhaps he speaks French," thought Alice. So she began again. "Que mon chat," which was the first sentence in her French book and meant, "Where is my cat?" The mouse leaped out of the water in fright. "I am sorry," cried Alice. "I did not mean to scare you." "Come ashore," said the mouse. "I will tell you why cats frighten me." By this time, the pool was crowded with birds and animals. There was a duck, a dodo, a parrot, and an eaglet, and other curious creatures too. Together, they all swam to the shore. The birds and the animals were dripping wet. "Let's have a race," said the dodo. "It will help us to dry off." And he began to mark out a course. Then, when everyone was dotting along the course, They started and stopped wherever they felt like. It was impossible to tell when the race was over, but after half an hour, they were all very dry. But who won the race? Asked the mouse. Everyone said, "The dodo! Alice will give out prizes." So Alice handed out some sweets she had in pockets. "But she must have prize too," said the mouse. "What else have you got in your pocket?" asked the dodo. Alice handed over a thimble and he gave it back to her, saying, "I beg you to accept this thimble." Alice accepted as solemnly as she could, and then they all sat down to hear the mouse tale. But Alice was so tired, she just could not concentrate, and the mouse stamped away in a huff. "I wish my cat Dina were here," said Alice. "She would soon fetch me back." Then she tried to tell everyone about Dina, but they were scared of cats too and ran away. Poor Alice was alone again. Wordpedia. Curious, interesting, center of the earth, midpoint, wailed, moaned, labeled, a strip written something on it, crowded, gathered, doted, looked, stamped away, walked away with heavy steps, tunnel, long underground way, scurried, ran away quickly, shrank to become small, splashing, making water sound, fright, fearful, thimble, a small metal or plastic